Huzzah! There we go. Right, I haven't done any fucking prep because I couldn't get the bloody microphone to work. Again. Bill Gates. If it's not Silicon Valley and Twitter and Facebook and Google, it's Gates. Gates! Damn you, Gates. Also, can't see my chat window. That's weird. Don't know why. Where's that? Yeah, who cares? Who cares? It's all going swimmingly. I'll just wing it. I'm good at that. It's a skill you pick up in the British military. If you're not duct taping, well, we use black maskers. If you're not using masking tape to attach rockets to Land Rovers that were never intended to be used as armoured vehicles, you're winging it on YouTube. Good skills learned there. Evening Irish, all right. Whiskey Straight Al, how are you doing? Nightmare. I don't know why my chat box isn't. Oh, there it is. Oh, it's popped up. Weird. Fuck me. Yeah. Seriously though, that is what we did. Well, I told you, when we invaded Iraq, we went in entirely dressed in temperate climate rig, so green rig, shiny black boots, and Land Rovers that are about as bulletproof as a fucking sausage sandwich. It's sort of unbelievable. Also, I do often wonder if there's ever been any issues related to lawsuits, because what they did was, when it became clear that, funny old thing, we weren't going to be wandering through the woods, like basically all of our training was directed towards the wrong shit, yeah, because, again, give me some slack, because I'm giving everyone the very, very abridged version of events. I don't want people to think I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. I'm giving you the abridged version of military doctrine from the last fucking 40 years. But basically, we all worked and trained off the idea that Russia, I mean, isn't it weird? We still think Russia's the big threat now. Like, Russia's got no money and no fucking force projection. The Navy's shite. And we're worrying about Russia all the time. And it was the same in Iraq and Afghanistan. All these Saudis and jihadis knocked down the Twin Towers. Russia, Russia, Russia. Stab everyone in the face on London Bridge. Russia, Russia, Russia. Crazy jihadis shooting up the journalists. Charlie Hebdo. Bataclan massacre. Nice truck attack. Flattening 400 people. Russia, 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 Russia. It's fucking really, really weird. Like, once the powers that be get an idea in their head about what we should be worrying about, it's impossible to get rid of it. So, Russia, 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 it's still now. And so basically we trained thinking that the biggest issue was going to be Russia was just going to get all their personnel, all their tanks, all their armoured personnel carriers, all their fucking anything they could get, and just go woof and go west. Go west, like the Pet Shop Boys song, except with more tanks and less Vaseline. So that's how we trained. Go west. Russia, Russia, Russia. And we all stuck a load of armour on snatch wagons when we realised that the threat was going to be guerrilla tactics from jihadis in the fucking Middle East. So we didn't have any armoured vehicles. And all we were getting was IEDs and indirect fire, because they couldn't win a stand-up firefight against, well, any troops worth a wank. Yeah, mechanised struggled. Another great takeaway from Afghanistan that we should have known, because the Russians learned it, the Soviets learned it in the 80s. The conventional troops that weren't well trained to dealing with mountainous terrain really struggled. Mechanised infantry are very, very good at fighting a fictional Russian invasion, because what they're trained to do is to jump in the back of their APCs, drive very far, jump out, pepper pot towards the enemy in a nice, so they just practice fire and manoeuvre all the time. Twat the enemy, get back in your armoured vehicle, go for a fucking drive. What they didn't do is train everyone. They found Spetsnaz, airborne commandos, fight well against the Mujahideen because they were used to operating on the feet, everything on your back, light order, mooching around in the mountains. So we knew what was happening. We knew all of this. The mid-tier officers knew all of this, but you can't tell politicians fuck off. And as I've told you guys, you get past the rank of major, they're all politicians anyway. So we just fucked everything up. We knew what to do. We knew what was coming. We could see it 10 mile away and we still fucked it all up. So yeah, lions led by donkeys. It's one of the oldest adage you'll ever hear, and it's still true to this day, and it will always be true. But I do wonder about the lawsuits, because when they bolted all the armour onto those 4x4s, seriously, when I was out there, you wouldn't go a month. You wouldn't go a month without someone rolling one, because they weren't designed to have a ton of fucking steel welded onto them. So all they did was got our existing shitty Landies and then bolted a load of fucking armoured plates onto them, because we were then doing vehicular patrols once again, worrying about IEDs and mines. So they were rolling all the fucking time. And when we had an incident in the Green Zone in Baghdad, when we were flying down Route Irish, we rolled a snatch wagon. Fortunately, it wasn't the one I was in, but nearly killed the Chief Clerk because he was sat in the back. He was an AGC Army bloke, Chief Clerk. He fucking sat in the back of the wagon, rolled it about 6 times. It was full of fucking signals equipment and batteries, and it was basically like being put in a giant tumble dryer with a sack of bricks. He looked like fucking Rocky when he got out the back. I was like, oh fuck, we've got about the Chief Clerk. And then the door opened, and this old Scouse guy was like, totally fucked. It was a nightmare. I don't know how many, it'll be in the hundreds, the amount of people who got fucked up by, as usual, our equipment not being up to scratch. So yeah, there you go. Anyway, I have to find some stuff to talk about, because literally I jumped off my rowing machine at about 10 to 12, got out the shower at about 5 to 12, and then spent 10 minutes pissing about with my microphone. So let me have a quick look. I did want to have a look on Twitter because I was getting some interesting stuff off there. Also, Sadwings, anybody else moaning about comments getting deleted? I mean, how long have you followed the channel for now? Over a year. There's only one person who fucking got through off this channel in all that time. I wouldn't delete your comment 1 out of 5 and carry on the conversation with you, would I? If I didn't want to talk to you, I'd fucking delete you. So have a whinge at my fucking winged nemesis, not me. If your comments disappear, I told you, I put a community post up. Big long one, spent loads of time writing it out. Thought, yeah, this is witty, send. It fucking disappeared. Like literally 4 minutes later when I had a look to see if anyone had seen it. Gone. So I wrote it again, and this time I Control-C, cut and pasted. So I thought, if they delete it, I'll put it back. So I put it up. 5 minutes later, it'd gone again. Pasted, put it up again. Pasted, put it up again. It got deleted about 5 times in a row. And annoyingly, on the 3rd time, I said, this comment keeps getting deleted. But don't worry, I've cut and pasted. I've pasted it onto my clipboard, and I can do this all day, YouTube. And annoyingly, I couldn't. Because I've got other things to do. I don't really spend that much time monitoring my channel. I'm not like sitting on my phone every half an hour. So I was gobbing off about how I could do this all day, and I couldn't. And it got deleted about 5 times, and then I just fucking give up. So they actually do these things out of spite. I think they just try and piss you off. It happens to me all the time, and it'll happen to you. But don't be fucking having a go at me saying, who deleted it? You know I don't know. It's the short version. It's either Susan or one of her fucking mates sitting there trying to piss people off on purpose. Because if it was me, why wouldn't I just delete all of them? Or why would I be responding to you in the first place? Have a pop at her. Stop whinging to me about comments getting deleted. Because I get it quite a lot now. Say, who deleted my comment? Well, I'm not Jeff Bezos, with psychic powers. And I can just plug myself in, stick my cock in my USB port and then go, and just know who does it. I don't know. When you say who, what you're saying is, why did you delete my comment, right? I didn't. And when they go, fuck knows who does it, but it ain't me. All right? What have we got on Twitter? Darren Grimes. I do like Darren Grimes. He's a bit of a pansy, isn't he? But he's all right. Post didn't have any curse words. Yeah, I know. I think if it's a good post and some lefty arsehole reads it and goes, shit, he's made a really good point there, they just delete it and think, Hopefully, we won't spend 5 minutes typing all that back up again. Score 1 for us. That's how censors work, right? It's slow attrition. If they do that to 10,000 reasonable, sensible, because they're the most dangerous one. Just 9 out of 10 of mine get deleted, and I assume it's because I'm putting a lot of swear words in them. But if you take the time to write a good one, as I've done before, and it disappears, that's just war of attrition, isn't it? If you take the time to write something logical and reasonable and sensible, they're worried people will see it. That's why with mine, it's like, it's not... I've made videos where there's hardly any objectionable comment or swear words in it, for me, and they've still been deleted. Because they're worried about you changing people's minds. That's why people like me and Paz and Rotten Politics and the like get shadow banned. I mean, there's literally hundreds of thousands of people get shadow banned because it's not that they're worried about offending people, it's they're worried about you changing people's minds. If I do a long deep dive on one of those videos like yesterday where Joy Reid's spewing absolute horse shit into the air, I mean, I don't know what else to say about that video. If you haven't seen it, watch it. But if you can sit there with a straight face and call the black woman a white supremacist and the old white man the face of black supremacy, I just think you're a fucking maniac. I don't know what else to say about it. So they need to keep reasonable people, sensible people, from saying and posting and writing and reading and hearing reasonable things. You could just type, if you just typed a really sensible, Thomas Sewell-esque, punctuated correctly, sensible argument, but it was like 3 sentences, and some twat in Silicon Valley knows if they get rid of it, they've stopped 10,000 people from seeing it. Why wouldn't they do it? Why wouldn't they? Because they know they can't win the argument, that's why. So they love it. They fucking love it. So, yeah, does my head in. What can you do? The North is small-minded. Who said that? Oh my God. Little Mix's Jade Thirlwall said the North is homophobic. These people know nothing. What does she know about the North? Like, seriously, how much time has she spent up there? Some shit-for-brains southern twat who's never been anywhere near. I think she's ever went for a walk around Hartlepool. The closest she's been to Hartlepool is possibly driving the tour bus through it for 10 minutes. So that's bollocks. I'll tell you what as well though, I don't like the thumbnails people make. Maybe it's just a personal thing, I don't know. Do you think thumbnails look better when you have whoever it is who does the video, like actually in the thumbnail? I don't think that's a bit daft. What's he pointing at? I don't know, because it seems like the reason I avoid that and like to use cartoons is because the really, really, really annoying shit on YouTube, the ones that get, you know, the stuff that really does like drop the IQ of the internet by 10 points, they're the ones who are massive and they always look like that. There's some fucking bloke, I've never even heard of him, never even heard the name, obviously don't watch anything like that. Where is it? I'm just going to go to the homepage and see if I can see if any of them pop up. I'll see. So it knows what I like here. David Starkey, South Park. I like that. Fox, we got a problem. GB News. See, there's a good one from Paz. I love taking the piss out of them in the thumbnails. Paz is I used to do the boss-eyed one myself all the time. Paz has got some appalling dentistry added to that one, so that's a good one. But the ones that really annoy me from, like, you know, random people who you don't subscribe to and they just pop up on your feed, they're always like Mr. Beast and people like that, and they're always really big thumbnails where it's the guy pulling like a daft face, and I just think they look fucking stupid. That guy Mr. Beast, I mean, seriously, I don't know why that guy's got as many fans as he does, but it's literally like 100 million people watch him, and when you see the stuff they come out with, you just think, this can't be helping kids. Like, he's got a really annoying persona, like just constantly being all wacky and zany all the time, and then it makes me just want to punch him in the face. So I don't like thumbnails where it's like a guy on there going like, I just think it looks ridiculous. But maybe that's just me. We're all different. Right, I'll stop ranting and raving. Let's just do some news, shall we? Did you get that Australian video I shared with you on Twitter? No, I don't know. I get a lot of shit nowadays, Ragnar. So no, I don't know which one you're on about. Yeah, once you get past like 7,000 or 8,000 followers on here, you do get a lot of fucking messages. I try to go through as many as I can, but I get tons. So, Miss Webb, we all saw that coming, didn't we? You have to ask yourself, if some fucking hairy-arsed plumber from Newcastle threatened to throw acid in his bird's face, do you think he'd be looking at a slap on the wrist? I mean, the thing that really annoys me about these fucking scumbags is even the fines are small. It says an MP who made threatening phone calls to a woman because she was jealous of her relationship with a partner had been given a suspended sentence. Claudia Webbe, a former Labour MP for Leicester East, was convicted of one charge of harassment last month. A 10-week suspended sentence. 10-week suspended sentence. If that was a welder from Sunderland and he was doing shit like that, and this is the important one as well, by the way, that have you noticed how they didn't even make mention of it? Why do they never charge people with fucking perjury? Why? Why do they only charge like working class scum get done for perjury? I don't understand it. It's like my old man's theory about drink driving. I remember when my old fellow was talking to me about how drink driving, they never throw the book at people. And the reason, you know, they're letting people off with sort of like what is effectively a slap on the wrist, even though they're doing a crime, which is shocking. Like, nobody doesn't think drink driving is absolutely shocking. If we want to stop drunks, and I say this as a fucking drunk, I binge drink quite regularly, and I've never once got behind the wheel pissed, because it's immoral. If you get leathered, and I always get leathered, and you wipe out a bus shelter and kill 6 kids, there's probably nothing worse you can do. So, don't drink drive. And I always remember being a young lad when I was learning about it at school, you know, brainwashing us a little bit, don't drink drive, kids. I was like, why don't they just say, if you get caught drink driving, we jail you for 5 years? And he was like, we don't do that, son, because the judges and the lawyers and the MPs are the ones who do all the fucking drink driving, aren't they? Because normal blokes like me and you, we go to our local, we walk to the pub and we walk home. It's easy. That's why they do it. It's because the judges and the lawyers want to be like, oh yeah, let's take the BM round fucking Soho or whatever it is the bastard doing. Trendy, you know, Burnham in Manchester. He'll be in his fucking Bentley driving around Prestwich getting pissed, won't he? People like us, you walk to the bastard boozer, and then if you really need to, you get a taxi, and it's a £5 because you don't need to be chauffeur driven. It's a random man from Tunisia who can barely fucking drive, and he charges you £4 because he's doing it on the down low because he's in the country illegally. So the reason they never made drink driving, slammed it, because if they slammed it, it'd stop. They never stopped it because the MPs do it. That's why. And perjury doesn't get applied to the rich and famous. It's like Claudia Webbe. For those of you, I'm sure all you guys have been, yes, cruising for rent boys, Paul, exactly. You might want to be drinking and driving when you're getting a notch off a rent boy. So obviously politicians don't want to clamp down on it. And Claudia Webbe perjured herself. She blatantly lied. I mean, because she's as thick as mince, right? Claudia Webbe is genuinely thick. Like, there's a lot of people who aren't really thick. They're just politically, they're indoctrinated into an ideology. So someone like David Lammy, you can see when he talks, he's not thick. He's cleverer than Diane Abbott and he's cleverer than Claudia Webbe. He's actually got a vocabulary on him. David Lammy's not thick. David Lammy's just an indoctrinated communist who's trying anyway. Jeremy Corbyn's not thick. You can see he's quite witty. He's articulate. He's got a good vocabulary on him. You can tell by listening to Jeremy Corbyn he's not stupid. He's just an ideologue. And nice driving is dangerous. Yeah, that was, I think Diana bit Dodie's cock off, didn't she? Threw me for a six, that. Talking about Diana chewing off Dodie's fucking bell end. Yeah, they're not thick. So, a lot of them, I'm just calling it to be an arsehole, but Diane Abbott and Claudia Webbe are two that you just know are thick. Claudia Webbe, because she's an absolute plank, she can't pronounce basic words. Like I said, your average 10-year-old in England knows how to pronounce basic words that Claudia Webbe can't. When she starts talking, you're like, this woman's just thick. She doesn't read. She's one of them who just never reads a book. If you want to be clever, you need to read. People who are quite smart, book smart people, common sense, typically read a lot. Like I said, I think a lot of British working class people are switched on and politically astute compared to many countries, because in the UK it's a very common thing to buy a paper. When I was a kid, working as a steel erector as a teenager, you'd go get your bait in the cabin at lunchtime for a break, and everyone would go out, or everyone would divvy up the papers before they went to work on the morning. So Dave would get the fucking Sun, and Danny would get the Mirror. I'm just going through the real people I work with. Dave would get the Sun, and Danny would get the Mirror, and fucking John would get the. There actually was a Guardian reader in there. He used to buy the Guardian. I think he said because he liked the cartoons and the crossword the best. And you'd have a Guardian in there, and you'd have a Daily Mail there, and you'd go through like 5 or 6 papers. So when you got to sit on your ass for an hour, if you had that long, you'd go through them all and you'd read, and that's how the general public in the UK kept abridged of current affairs for so long. And maybe since the collapse of the newspapers and the rise of the internet, maybe that's why there's so many fucking idiots everywhere nowadays. Because nobody's just sitting and reading for the simple pleasure of it. Having a cup of tea and perusing the newspapers. Peruse. See, I overpronounced the P there because Andrew was mocking my accent. That's so you'd learn things. And now everyone's a fucking idiot. Claudia Webbe doesn't read. You know for a fact from the way she talks, Claudia Webbe doesn't read. When she's got time off, she watches Netflix and gobbles off a lover or a partner or whatever pervy shit she's into, because they're all sex pests as well, aren't they, these socialist fucking lunatics. She doesn't read for pleasure. These are the people where you can name like great literature and they've never heard of it. So what about Ulysses? And they go, you mean the cartoon from the 80s? It's like, no, you mean one of the greatest fucking works of all time. They don't know these basic things. Paul, I got all my information from Matt. Well, good enough. Right, at least I won't lie to you. Which, like the BBC will. Yeah. Viz is good. I grew up on Viz. I think I've got not an excellent vocabulary for useful words that one might use whilst writing a novel, but an excellent vocabulary for inane swear words and euphemisms, which I got from 15 years of reading the Viz. So Claudia Webbe's a fucking idiot. And her lies were so obvious, she should have got jailed for a very long time. That is my point. I'm not even going to do what a lot of other commentators have done. I know the Lotus Eaters were talking about. I'm not going to do what the other commentators are doing and talk about, oh yeah, if it was a man, he'd have got this. If it was a white man from Slough, he'd have got this. Claudia Webbe should have been sent to prison for flagrantly and blatantly and aggressively lying constantly to the judge. It's perjury. And worst of all, it was perjury with conviction. It was like, not like perjury where you just tell 1 or 2 white lies, like they're getting all of the Trump aides or these trumped up charges in the United States for lying to the FBI. They asked them 500 questions over an 8-year time span. And if you get anything wrong, they say, oh yeah, you lied to the FBI there, jail. Because that's a witch hunt. But what I'm saying is, if you can make a small mistake, they'll do you. But Claudia Webbe consistently lied to the judges and to the people in that courtroom multiple times on purpose, shamelessly and brazenly. So for that alone, she should be looking at a jail sentence, and then whatever they would have given her for the assault and the acid and the threats and the menace and the fucking bribery and whatever else. So, yeah, I mean, so I'll read a bit more of the story, but that's what I know just from reading it earlier. It says, the court told on one occasion she made an angry call, used a derogatory term, and added, "You should be acid." So, outright just told her, "I'll fucking acid your face off, bitch." Just told her. They also said Webbe threatened to send naked images to her family and a recording of a call in which she was heard shouting, "Get out of my relationship." So this is the thing. She was on tape. It's the same point you would make about the Rittenhouse issue, right? Because they're trying to invent trumped-up charges against Kyle Rittenhouse. And ultimately, you just have to trust your eyes and your ears because it's all on tape. You can't lie your arse off, Claudia, when they taped your phone calls, you thick twat. And that's why all you have to do is watch movies, right? If you're just a street thug and you've watched a lot of fucking Goodfellas or Sopranos, you know you don't talk over the phone, right? Claudia Webbe was thick enough to leave messages on the victim's phone telling her, "I'll acid your face off. Get out my relationship, you cunt." And then when she's in court, she says, "Oh yeah, all I did was call her and tell her she should be respecting COVID guidelines." It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. And that's the difference between malice and intent and just plain old perjury. It's like the IRS in the United States. If you fuck the IRS, they make you pay them. Because I've sort of said before, on the money in America, it shouldn't say "In God we trust." It should say "Fuck you, pay me." Because all the government cares about is money. Same in the UK. All the government cares about is money. That's why if you rob the government, you are seriously in the shit. You can go around robbing and raping and noncing and fucking anything you want, and the government couldn't give a flying fuck. But the second you take a penny out of their coffers, you are seriously in the shit. And the difference between it is always down to that. If you owe the IRS money, they will get their money out of you. But if you owe the IRS money and you keep lying to them and keep going through all these shenanigans, like the famous preacher Kent Hovind did back in the early 90s, I remember reading the case. This is when I was in my early 20s and I was a chippy atheist, right? I remember reading the case and the IRS were like, "We didn't want to send this guy to prison, but he just kept lying." And Claudia Webbe just kept lying. She didn't make a mistake. She didn't lose her temper once or twice. She fucking threatened this woman on multiple occasions. They have the tapes, and she lied and lied and lied and lied. And every time they pulled her up on it and said, "Yeah, but really, Claudia, because it's all on tape and we can all listen to it," she doubled down and she lied, like a thick person does. Because again, people that aren't thick know that when you get caught, you're best off holding your hands up. I'll give you a good example about that. Again, everyone knows it in the relationships. They know it with the wives and husbands. They know it with the children. If you get caught lying, fess up. If you think you can get away with it and it's a white lie, maybe it might be worth trying to keep on lying if you're an arsehole. And you should do the equation. But if you're caught red-handed, the best thing is always to fess up. And it was the same in the Royal Marines. If they ever caught you lying, they used to fucking thrash you. They used to hate it, right? But if you did lie and they had a pop at you, the faster you fessed up, the easier it was going to go. And there was times, when they'd come round and you can't hide from them and they're pulling all the shit out of your locker, and he goes right to the very back where you've hid something like a bloodhound and pulls out an old boot and says, "Did you polish that?" And it is clearly dirty. You learn very, very quickly to go, "No, Corporal." And he goes, "Useless little twat," throws it out the window and says, "Crawl out there and pick your fucking boot up." And you crawl out there and you come back in covered in shit and he goes, "Stand by your bed," and you're done. But I've seen people, morons, who usually lasted about 4 weeks, deny the obvious. "Did you polish them brasses?" "Yes." Did you? With that on it? Yes. Did you really, you politician? Yes. And they just wouldn't. And if you go down that road, you are in the shit. Because it's called integrity. Something they give you in the military. Politicians haven't got it. We should be sending them running through fucking burning tyres. Maybe if we sent them around the assault course a few dozen times, all of our politicians wouldn't be absolute scumbags. Rotten Politics, Craig, how are you doing? Thanks for coming. Maybe if they thrash them senseless, like they do the Marines, we would have some integrity in Parliament. But Claudia Webbe is just an example of one of these people who's got no integrity, no backbone, and hasn't even got the brains to come clean when she gets caught red-handed. So she should have been in jail for perjury, even forgetting about the acid attack, right? Does anyone think that is an unfair summation of events? I'm not comparing her with anybody else like a lot of you guys have done. I'm not comparing her with blokes. I'm just saying she should have got 6 months in fucking jail for constantly lying to the judge and the court and the fucking people that pay wages. She should be in jail. And that's a fact. And if you lied as malevolently and as consistently in a court of law as Claudia Webbe did, your soul best be on a chain round your neck. Because you're sharing the showers with fucking Bubba for the next 12 months. Maybe Marines need to be in politics. Yeah. Well, again, it teaches you not to lie. Because they brainwash you. It's why I'm never late for work. I try not to lie, and I'm never late for work, and I'm conscientious. I never break the law. I've never even had a parking ticket. I really have never had a parking ticket. I don't know why. Because respect for authority gets grilled into you. You get brainwashed. People have said that to me as if it's an insult, or you get brainwashed by the military. I'm willing to admit that I was brainwashed to some degree. That's what military indoctrination is. It gives you a fear of authority. So I don't put a foot wrong. I never park where, if there's a big sign saying don't park here, I don't do it. Even if it's a pain up the arse, they end up walking a bastard mile to go somewhere. And my friends who haven't served, you can see the difference. My mate Muzzy gets a parking ticket every week. Last time I was home, I went surfing with him in Saltburn. He just stuck it across the hatched lines. It'll be all right, no one ever checks. 2 hours later, actually, he was surfing and I was stood in the pub at this point. I was having a pint looking over the balcony, and the traffic warden turned up to put a sticker on his car, and I was pissing myself laughing. A small part of me said I should go over and argue with him, and then I thought, no, I wouldn't do it, so fuck him. And I just took a photo of the parking warden giving him a ticket and sent it to my mate Muzzy's phone, because obviously he was in the sea, and said, hey, you've been fucking pinged again. It's because of that brainwashing, that respect for authority. So I've got it. And yeah, if we thrash these twats senseless, maybe it would result in our political class not being such a bunch of absolute weasels. And now, I'm going to cover this because I don't know what the truth of the story was, but everyone's been whinging at me to talk about it. So, yeah, let's say this. It says the Marine Corps calls BS on reports they surrendered to British troops during a training exercise. The exercise does not provide an opportunity to surrender. It says the Marine Corps is disputing a recent news story claiming that US Marines surrendered. Oh, you can't read that, I'll put it up a bit. Hang on. Claiming that US Marines surrendered to their British counterparts during a training exercise at 29 Palms. It says British media has been gloating since Tuesday, when the Telegraph reported that the British Royal Marine Commandos had dominated the US Marines during the exercise and ultimately forced the Marines to surrender after annihilating most of their unit. They also claim the US troops asked for a reset halfway through the exercise. It says, by successfully targeting American HQ using long-range artillery to destroy US vehicles and launching a long-range commando raid, British forces not only defeated the Americans but vastly expanded the territory they controlled from less than 20% to more than 65%. All I would say is, I do believe that they were soundly beaten. If you do a battlefield casualty analysis, and they'll have looked at it. But it will also be true that the British press have bigged it up because it's pure jingoism. It's what the media always does. Like, that's what they do. So I would assume that, half of the story is true. But I don't think there's any need for us to fucking start flag waving about a training exercise against the Americans because they're our allies. Right? The whole point of a training exercise is to figure out, try and stick a finger through any of the chinks you can find in somebody else's armour. And the obvious point to take away from it is, it's not the type of thing we should be bragging about. We should be saying, right, and I'm sure our commanders are looking at it and saying, right, what weaknesses did we identify in our American counterparts? Training, what deficiencies do they have as a fighting unit? Let's get to fixing it. And the US Marines and the Royal Marines have a long history together. Their top PT, who takes all their officers through training, is a Bootneck. It's a Bootneck colour stripe. It's a good job. Everyone wants that sweet gig taking the Marine officers through. So I'm not down. Obviously, I watched Rotten Politics' video. It's pretty funny to read about. I don't think Paz covered it as well, did he? But I don't think it's the type of thing we should be getting worried about. It doesn't really mean anything. Here's a good story that I did like reading about at the bottom, though. It said, meanwhile, a non-scientific poll conducted by Task and Purpose in March showed that British Royal Marines are US troops' favourite foreign military to train with, in part because they know how to party. British Royal Marines were hysterical and almost drank us under the table, one reader said. Now, I'll definitely dispute this one. Yeah, of course, Royal Marines are at a higher calibre than US Marines. That's the first one. It's not even in the same ballpark. It's quantity over quality. But to be honest, Royal Marines are a different kettle of fish to the USMC. The USMC are a bog standard Marine infantry unit. The Royal Marines were merged with our commando forces after the Second World War. So we do commando training as part of our bog standard training, and it's fucking nails. You can't expect US Marines to compete with Royal Marines like for like. They're not even in the same ballpark. And I know that sounds arrogant, but like I said, I'm not interested in mocking the US Marines. We have a long relationship with them, and they're good lads. But it's not even in the same ballpark. Their best and brightest always try to get a draft to Lympstone to go on the all-arms course and try to get the Green Beret. And I've worked with plenty of them. There was a US Marine Corps captain, there's a troop boss, and I was a 40 commando, fucking sound bloke. And there was a stripey when I was at 4-2 Commando USMC. They don't think they're the same as we are. They freely concede. The physicality of the US Marines is nothing compared to the Royal Marines. I don't even know how to explain how difficult Royal Marines training is compared to bog standard infantry. It's not even in the same fucking league. Not even close, because they amalgamated the commandos into the Royal Marines to save money, right? So instead of just having a Marine infantry and a commando unit, you store them all in together and downsize them. But I have never once worked alongside a US Marine who thinks that he's physically capable compared to a Royal Marine, where you just run till your fucking eyes bleed. You do things slow time in the Royal Marines, and it's 7-minute miles with all your gear on. Like, they thrash the tits off you. If you can't run like the wind, you can't make it. Nobody can squeak through Royal Marine training. 8 or 6 weeks or whatever the fuck it is the USMC do. They can squeak through that. It's not very long. Bog standard military training is not hard. It just isn't. In fact, I can think, you know what I've told you, because I've got a good memory for this stuff. I can give you a good example, because I remember USMC female pull-up requirements. I remember when they changed it, and they couldn't do it. Let me look for this story. There we are. They couldn't do it. I mean, this is the most... Seriously, my missus is fucking now in her mid-30s. Embarrassing, I don't know the exact age. What is she, 34? Anyway, she could piss the US Marines training. It's not even difficult. And I remember this story. US Marines backed off the pull-up requirement for women after so many failed. And they gave them months to train for it. So it says, after more than half of last year's female Marine recruits were unable to do at least 3 pull-ups, the Corps announced it will delay the new requirement for women to graduate boot camp. So, for all those who want to slag off the US Marines, it's full of good lads. Obviously, you're not comparing like for like, are you? When there's never been a female Royal Marine other than Hannah Snell fucking 250 years ago. And the USMC is full of them. It's full of chicks. Chicks that can't even do 3 pull-ups. They can't do it. Because what they used to do is, they used to make, the men used to have to do like 3 pull-ups, which is fucking pathetic. And the women used to have to do a bar hang, where you just hang off the bar. Like literally just hang off the fucking bar for 30 seconds. So then they said, oh yeah, it's too easy for the women. We're going to put up to 3 pull-ups. They gave them 6 months to train for it. And more than half of the fucking Marine recruits couldn't do it. 3. I can do 10. I'm 40 fucking 2 years old. That's pathetic. So that was November 2014. All women would need to perform 3 pull-ups as part of their physical fitness test. Couldn't do it. 55% of female recruits in training at Paris Island unable to meet the challenge. After months of training. So, yeah, you're not comparing like for like. Not like the hard chicken aliens. Vasquez. Yeah, Vasquez's nails. She could do pull-ups all fucking day long. But yeah, so you're not comparing like for like. In the Royal Marines, you've got to be able to do fucking pull-ups till your eyes bleed and then climb up a 30-foot rope with all your kit on and then run around on the Tarzan assault course and punch through fucking cargo nets and climb across dodgy rope bridges and swing down from a fucking 80-foot rope slide, which isn't even a nice one with like a bar attached to it. It's like you dunk a piece of scabby 1940s rope into a barrel and then you have to leap out of a fucking 80-foot tower, throw the rope over it and slide down like you're a fucking pirate from the 17th century. It's shocking. So yeah, you're not comparing like for like, and I'm not really feeling mocking the USMC because we're all on the same team. So yeah, that's the end of my rant about the Yank Marines. And what else have I got to talk about? I think that's it, innit? Yeah. Darren Grimes, he's a good lad. He's just soft as shite. I suppose if you do it for a living, you'd be a lot more fearful of people like me and Paz, where, you know, you do an actual job. You're going to be a lot more fearful of your revenue, aren't you? And because the Angry Bootneck's revenue off YouTube is 0, I don't give a fuck. So at least, while Darren is giving you the milquetoast variation of events, and I do like Darren Grimes, follow him, he's a nice lad, and he's a fucking working class conservative, an actual conservative, who at least had the good sense to quit the Tories party after their shambolic year in charge. But yeah, if you want to see some milquetoast news, go and follow Darren Grimes. If you like the swearing, stick around with me. All right. Thanks for watching. I'm going to call that a day. I think I've got to put a shift in this evening, but it's nights. So I'm hoping with a new job I've started, A, I'm not working full time because I don't fucking need the money that badly. And B, because of the 8-hour time difference in California, I'm hoping I'll still be able to do these quite regularly. So yeah, because obviously it's only noon over here. So yeah, thanks for watching. Stick around for the swearing, and hopefully I'll see you guys again very soon. All right? Can't give you a rock-solid timing, but to be honest, timekeeping it hasn't been the best, judging by my current microphone-based tomfoolery. So yeah, we'll wing it. I'll see you when I see you. Thanks for watching. Like and share it, and yeah, cheers. Take it easy.